name is Karen Brown. I'm your host for today. And this week on The Oldish, we will take a look at the articles that we published. We'll talk about Stop Sitting Around in our Let's Talk About segment, and we will take a look at news from around the world of The Oldish. So first of all, let's start with this week on The Oldish. We published an article on how a short rest may boost recall and improve memory. I don't mean taking a nap. There's none of this lay down and sleep for 2 hours in the afternoon. That's not what this means. This actually refers to taking a break from a task that you're working on, going and doing something else, and then coming back to it. And it's amazing. It is absolutely amazing the sort of recall you have that you didn't have before you started the task. So take a look at that article. Eating well on a budget. As we approach summer, it does want to be summer out there. It's very gray and mizzly today, but it's making everything green. As we approach summer and we can take advantage of those farmers markets and perhaps growing our own vegetables inside and our own herbs inside the house, I think that eating well on a budget is so much easier when the weather is nicer. And you kind of feel like doing it a bit more, don't you? Rather than those heavy meals of the winter that, the stews that you eat for days and days on end. Eating well on a budget. That's a good article to read. The importance of vocal fitness in seniors is a really, really interesting article that our writer Heather brought to me and asked whether or not she could research that because she was talking to a friend who had some issues with her voice because she was not talking to anybody since her husband had passed away. So we're going to talk about that a little later on in our Let's Talk About segment. Can sitting too much shrink your brain? The short answer is yes. Stop sitting around. We'll talk more about that. Hydration may help active seniors improve cognition. You've got to stay hydrated. It affects so many things, but cognition is one of them. Your brain needs water too. Your body needs water. You've got to stay hydrated. The top 5 articles that people were reading this week on theoldish.com. A short rest may boost recall and improve memory. Looks like a lot of people want to know about that. Chicken shots for knee pains is still on the list, but down to number 2 this week. Stages of Alzheimer's disease made it onto our list for the first time this week. FDA approves new treatment for age spots was a popular article in number 4. And the number 5 position, Freebird Club, more than just a place to stay. If you haven't read that and you are a traveler, check it out. Think Airbnb for the 50-plus crowd. Really great for people who want to or need to travel alone. Let's talk about how you can stop sitting around and why you should. We've published a lot of articles over the years in terms of healthy news to help you live a healthier life, be healthier, move more. So we're going to kind of pull all of that together in today's Let's Talk About segment. It is said that for any given task, you need to do it repeatedly for 3 weeks in order to establish a habit. So with summer coming on, it's time to chuck out those old habits that aren't very helpful and bring in some new habits. Move it or lose it is the theme for this summer indeed. We've published a lot of articles on the benefits of moving, and the majority of them say that you must move for at least 150 minutes each week. So intentional exercise for 150 minutes. My exercise of choice is the treadmill. I have one in my house, and every morning by 7:30 at the latest, sometimes a little earlier, I'm on the treadmill and I walk for 30 minutes and watch the news up on the TV because I have to be amused. Otherwise, I'm paying too much attention to that clock that's slowly ticking away. You've all got to find your own tricks, but 150 minutes every week. I choose to take the weekends off. Turns out to be a good thing to recover my sore knees and just think of doing other kinds of exercise. So at a minimum then, when I do 30 minutes a week on my treadmill, I know I've got my 150 minutes. I do other things as well, but at least I know I've done that. Weights are a very good thing to incorporate into your exercise routine. In the little shelf of my treadmill, I have 2 3-pound weights, which I use to walk with, one in each hand. And I also do some over the head repetitions to get my heart rate up and to do some core strengthening. So I bring them out, in, and up. And I'm up to 15 times. So I'm going to start doing a couple of different repetitions of that. But that'll get me into the weights. The vocal exercises piece. I did not know that people who live alone can literally go days without speaking to anyone or anything. Now, of course, it makes sense. I just really hadn't given it any thought. So this friend of our writer, Heather, got herself a rescue dog so that she has the dog to talk to. But Heather did write an article about that, the importance of vocal fitness, and you really should give it a read. For 15 minutes every day, read out loud, read the back of the soup can, talk to your dog, talk to your cat, or sing. You can sing in the shower, baby. And that matters. 15 minutes every day to keep your voice nice and strong. Swimming is a great exercise. And again, as we get more toward summer, and maybe those of you who are near to lakes or ponds, or perhaps you prefer an indoor pool, that works too. The study was done in Australia, and it was done primarily on men, but there's no reason why this doesn't translate to women as well. Swimming builds a stronger core, and if you have a stronger core, that helps with balance, which in turn helps with reducing the probability of falls. So it's all good. You need that strong core. The Oldish free membership gives you access to a series of exercises that were developed by Dr. Vicki Scott and her team out on the west coast of Canada. And if you are restricted to a wheelchair, or you find standing for too long to be a trial, there are exercises there for people who sit. There are also exercises for people who stand. So if you can stand and just hang on to a kitchen counter for the time it takes to do the exercises, that's the series you need to be following. And there is another series on moving. So whether you are sitting, standing, or moving, there are exercises for you at theoldish.com. Gardening is also exercise. So again, as we get towards summer, I have a friend who posted on his Facebook page today that it was only 8 months till Christmas. There's a lot of spring and summer before then, and a lot of gardening to be done. So gardening counts as exercise. Ask a friend to go with you and go lawn bowling, pickleballing, if you're a little bit more aggressive and you like to play golf or tennis, or you just join a walk-in club. You can do any of those things to get your 150 minutes in every week. Yoga or Tai Chi classes are great for building core strength and creating better balance, which helps to prevent falls. And there are lots and lots of those videos on YouTube. So jump on YouTube and you will find all kinds of stuff. Yoga, Tai Chi. Check your medications. Again, for those of you who have a free membership at the Oldish, I know I sound like a broken record about this, but it is so very important to keep track of your medications and the interactions between them. So go and fill out a medication checklist. You will fill out your prescription medications that your doctor gave you, and you will also fill out your over-the-counter medications and all those lovely herbal teas that you take, anything at all that falls into the categories that are noted there. You write them down. Keep track of them, because you could be healthier by taking away some of those medications. But check with your doctor, because if a medication is necessary, of course you have to take it. But you want to be sure that the medications that are no longer necessary or that conflict with those that you're already taken are removed from your daily habit of medication. Positive mental attitude. That goes a very long way toward healthier living, which of course speaks to sitting around. People who don't have a very positive attitude do tend to spend a great deal of time sitting around. Perhaps they are challenged with depression, but that positive mental attitude. I'm a person who firmly believes that ideas have energy. And energy can be positive or negative, and what you put out there, you get back. So I prefer to put out positive energy and positive thoughts. And if you believe that, that's great. If you don't believe that, then you will still see benefits from having a more positive, glass half full attitude about this world. And it makes you healthier. Research has proven that it actually makes you healthier. So think positive. Eating more fruits and veggies, or maybe even juicing, gets those nutritional ingredients into you, makes you feel better, makes you feel healthier. And again, as we approach summer and you can get out to those farmers markets or grow your own, that's really great. I took up juicing in December, and I find that just wonderful. I don't do it every day, but I do it several times a week. And just the other day, I started drinking matcha latte. You heard of that? Have you done any research on matcha tea? I'll let you know how that goes, but I bought a little milk frother and I bought some matcha tea, some good green matcha tea, and it's actually pretty yummy. I think I'm going to put some maple syrup in it today, some good old Canadian maple syrup to sweeten it up a bit, but matcha tea is full of antioxidants. So I'm going to experiment with that for a while, and as I say, I'll let you know. Eating Well on a Budget was published this week, and the related article beside that on theoldish.com talks about how malnutrition is becoming a crisis in older adults. So if you know of an older adult who needs some encouragement, or maybe it's you, if you need some encouragement to eat better, then take a look at some of these articles and see if there aren't some habits that you can't adopt that will help you. And if you're feeling healthier and stronger, you will stop sitting around. You will move more, which in turn makes you healthier, which makes you want to be even healthier still. So take a look at all of that. There was a news article that I heard this morning about a very small study. It was 5 people. It was done at Loma Linda University in California, and it had to do with the benefits of chocolate for dementia. Now, you only need 2 ounces of 70% cacao every day, and apparently it improves your thought patterns significantly, but it's only 5 people. Still, there are many, many articles out there about chocolate. However, the doctor I saw talking about it cautioned that there are downsides to chocolate as well. It's not great for your teeth, it's high in sugar, it's high in calories, and that there are ways to get those benefits besides eating chocolate. So if you have a sweet tooth and a little bit of chocolate will fit into your diet, there is science to back you up. If you don't have a sweet tooth, if you're a savory person, you're still going to get it with your fruits and vegetables. I also saw a news article this morning about Kourtney Kardashian going to Congress. And I just about changed the channel because I'm not a Kardashian watcher per se, but I stayed with it. And it turns out that Kourtney Kardashian is going to Congress to push them for regulations that are stricter in the cosmetic industry. That actually makes a lot of sense. It's been many, many years. I think I saw 80 years since cosmetic regulations have been revised. And as it turns out, there are a lot of toxic chemicals that are found in skin treatments, skincare products, makeup, all kinds of things, and they actually have toxic chemicals. You're not required to report some of them, and it depends on what country you're in. So follow that. There are a lot of very big companies that are behind newer regulations. So I'm going to follow that pretty closely. Around the world of the oldish this week, there's some really cool stuff going on. Are you an IKEA furniture addict? For people who have downsized, perhaps they've gone from a big home to a smaller apartment or a smaller space of some kind that demands smaller furniture, they've chosen to look to IKEA for their solutions. Now, IKEA is experimenting with robots to put the furniture together. You know, you've been to IKEA and you see that big couch and it looks beautiful and you decide you want it and you go to check out and it comes in a box that's this big. It's a little intimidating. So they've got robots that are being programmed to put furniture together. Now, it's still in the test phase, but they have actually pitted robots against humans to see who can build a chair faster. So far, the humans are winning, but I think it might be worthwhile to have the robot do it so you don't have that last little screw left over. The tiny house movement for older adults has taken another leap forward. The University of Southern Indiana is building a $75,000 tiny home on its Evansville campus. This so-called Minka home is designed with interchangeable parts to make it user-friendly for people who are disabled or for older adults. You can Google Minka Minka, Minka Homes. There's a lot of research on them. This particular university is partnering with a geriatrician named Dr. Bill Thomas, and he in turn has partnered with an architect to create this home, which is the first of 3 that they're building on the Evansville campus. The British Geriatric Society is calling on hospitals and practitioners to recognize and manage the clinical symptoms associated with frailty, which are classically loss of mobility, falls, confusion, incontinence, and the frailty-associated adverse drug effects and interactions that are commonly seen. They are demanding that practitioners take into account not only the underlying clinical issues, such as delirium, dehydration, malnutrition, deconditioning, and hospital-acquired illnesses, but also the life cycle, including the recognition of end-of-life issues, family relationships, social and environmental resources, and most importantly, functional health status and the potential for recovery, recuperation, and rehabilitation. It's good to see the Brits taking the lead in that. Let's hope this kind of conversation jumps the pond and becomes more dominant here. In Japan, the number of adults over the age of 65 who are actively in the workforce has reached an all-time high. 8.07 million seniors, representing 12.3% of the Japanese workforce, are over the age of 65. Worker shortages in the under 65 category are related to a shrinking labor force, which is challenging companies to find workers. On the positive side, older adults are living longer and experiencing healthier lives, and the majority of respondents to a 2014 survey by the Cabinet Office in Japan said they would like to continue working into their 70s and 80s. So would I. Now you think that 70s and 80s sounds old? Not so much. The World Health Organization has reclassified age groups. This makes me really happy. In case you haven't heard, here they are. 0 to 17 is regarded as underage. The label for 18 to 65-year-olds, youth/young people. I'm a youth. Again, so good to hear. 66 to 79, middle-aged. 80 to 99, elderly/senior. And those over 100 years of age, long-lived elderly. Can you believe it? I am so happy to now be a youth again. It is just making me dance. So you can find our articles all on theoldish.com, and we would welcome you to check out our social media platforms as well. We're on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. We are everywhere, and I would welcome you to come back next Wednesday at 12 noon for another edition of The Oldish. Until then, that's it, that's all. Do remember, please, that it takes a village to age a senior.